Welcome you all to Grade 10 Civic Education English Medium. Your syllabus consists of 5 chapters. So I'll read out all chapters for you. Let's start with chapter 1. Before starting chapter 1, I'll mention what are the 5 chapters that you have to study for grade 10. Chapter 1 Democratic Governance. Chapter 2 Decentralization and Devolution of Power. Chapter 3 The Multicultural Society. Chapter 4 Economic Systems and Economic Relations. Chapter 5 Conflict Resolution in a Democratic Society. Chapter 1 Democratic Governance. Democracy is accepted globally as a more desirable method of good governance. The main reason for this is that democratic government is based on people's participation and it represents public opinion. In this chapter, you will be able to study the system of democratic government relevant to the following topics. 1. Origin and the expansion of democratic governance. 2. Characteristics of democratic governance. 3. Nature of the state and the government. 4. Nature of the national state, its origin and expansion. 5. Role of the state. 6. Nature of constitutions and their characteristics. 7. Organizational structure and the performance of the government. 8. Responsibilities of citizen. 9. Responsibilities towards citizen. 10. Requirements for the success of democratic governance. 11. Importance of democratic governance. Introduction to democratic governance. In the long history of civilization, man used to live together with a view of facilitating the fulfillment of his basic needs. With the gradual development of society, the need arose for an organized system of governance to facilitate the will of society and safeguard law and order. Accordingly, various countries have practiced different methods of governance to rule them from the past. Monarchism, within brackets federal, aristocratic system, and democratic governance can be cited as examples. At present, most countries, including Sri Lanka, are implementing democratic governance. Next topic, democracy. In Sinhala, Praja means people, while Tantra is the system of governance. Vada is the ideology. Accordingly, democratic governance is the governance developed by the public to govern themselves. If you consider the Tamil word Makkalachi, Makkal means people and Achi means governance. In that sense, Makkalachi simply means public governance. The word democracy is derived from the Greek words demos and kratos. Demos denotes public while kratos denotes power. So the Greek meaning of the word is power of the people. The system of government which allows people to participate in the administration directly and indirectly is democratic government. Next topic, the origin and the expansion of democratic governance. There is historical evidence to show that some features of democratic governance had existed in both the East and the West. The governance of the Greek city-state polis of Athens was based on direct democratic principles. The supreme governing body of the city-state of Athens was the Citizens' Council that consisted of citizens in the government in Greece. The citizens' opinion on the functions of government have been directly considered in the Citizens' Council. Therefore, the citizens were given an opportunity to take an active part in the government. But urban women, slaves, and foreigners were not allowed to participate in it. This method of governance in Athens was recognized as direct democratic governance. Collective decision-making can be cited as direct democratic governance. History records about a republican government in the Vajji kingdom of India in the 6th century BC. The 7 principles of Aparayani Dhamma of Vajji kingdom can be seen in the present democratic governance too. Some of them are given below. 1. Regular meetings and discussion. 2. Meet, discuss and live peacefully. 3. Avoid framing of non-functional laws, strict enforcement of framed laws and obedience to framed laws. 4. Respect elders, obey and respect their advice and abide by them. Starting next para. Accordingly, this shows how the East followed the principles of democracy in their governments. From 5th century AD up to the 15th century AD, the feudal system existed in Europe. After the 15th century AD, The advancement of commercial economy took place, replacing the agricultural economy, which was based on service-bound land use. At the same time, a capitalist class also emerged. After the 15th century AD, national states came into existence in Europe. With the spread of liberal ideas, the freedom of the individual was greatly appreciated. The power of the people's representatives took precedence over that of the monarchy. The English Revolution, Great Revolution, that took place in 1688 is an example of this. Later, the power of the parliament, which consisted of people's representatives, began to develop. Next topic, types of democratic governance. When we inquire about democratic governance, two main types of it can be noticed. One, direct democracy. Two, indirect democracy or the representative democracy. Next topic, direct democracy. The governance which existed in the Greek city-state polis of Athens is a good example of direct democracy. Direct democracy is the system in which people gather in one place, discuss and take collective decisions on state administrative functions with the consent of the people swiftly and directly, according to Professor Garner. The problems arising out of implementing direct democracy at present. Number 1, the large land masses of present states. 2, vast population of present states. 3, the difficulty of getting all the citizens to rally in one place. 4, complexity of social needs. Next topic, indirect democracy. Considering the practical problems in implementing direct democratic governance, the system of elected representatives emerged. It is called indirect democracy or representative democracy. Indirect democracy took root in Europe as an instrument of administration. Philosophic ideas nurtured it further. As a result, representative institutions such as the parliament came into being. According to Abraham Lincoln, democracy is government of the people, by the people and for the people. According to Seeler, democracy provides rights for everybody as a tool of governance. In a representative democracy, the citizens themselves cannot take part in the governance. The opinion of the voters is directly assessed in some countries where representative democracy is practiced. The referendum in the Constitution and the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka is one such example. Next topic, importance of democracy as a system of governance. Most of the present states consist of multicultural societies. In such a society, every member of your population can become a partner in the mechanism of governance. In most countries, government bodies have been established to enable people's representation at both national and local levels. Democracy is useful as a system of government, as it builds up on the people's will. The representative is elected on the majority will. The government is formed by the party or group which elects the majority of representatives. The laws are passed by the majority decision of the elected representatives. Next topic, the importance of democracy as a way of living. Democracy plays a major role in society and as a way of living. A democratic society represents different opinions, taking decisions by consensus, respecting equality, and enjoying rights and fulfilling related duties. A society which adheres to such conditions automatically creates opportunities for the smooth implementation of democracy. Next topic, characteristic of democratic governance. Election of governments and rulers using universal franchise. In a democratic country, ruling representatives are elected by general franchise. Moreover, franchise is utilized in referendums in direct democracies. Franchise is bestowed on all the citizens over a particular age limit. Voting power is granted irrespective of sex, community, employment or income. It is known as universal franchise. In Article 3 of the Constitution of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, it is mentioned that in the Republic of Sri Lanka, sovereignty is in the people and is inalienable. Sovereignty includes the power of government, fundamental rights, and the franchise. Next topic, competitive party system. Political parties are an essential component in the operation of democratic government. A political party is an organized entity of persons formed with the aim of acquiring ruling power of a country based on principles of its governance. The opportunity given to a number of competitive parties to gain political power in a country is called competitive party system. It can be noticed that they are in constant competition to acquire power present in various political and economic programs. Accordingly, the people can select their party on their own. Different types of party systems can be identified in this manner. Multi-party system. A large number of political parties are in operation. Sri Lanka and India are countries where multi-party system operates. Two-party system. Several parties are in operation, but the mandate changes from time to time between two parties. Examples: Great Britain and USA. Single-party system. There is only one political party legally operating within the country. Its function based on socialist philosophy. Examples: China, Cuba, North Korea. Next topic, good characteristics of a competitive party system. Number 1, wide opportunity for representing public opinion. 2, prevention of autocracy. 3, correction of the unhealthy policies of a government through criticism. 4, provision of the opportunity to represent the diversity that exists in society. 5, creation of unity out of diversity. Next topic, polling division system. It is necessary to divide the country into polling divisions as a strategy to involve people's representatives for democratic governance. Based on these divisions, representatives are elected to the legislature and local governments. The simple majority representation and the system of proportional representation are followed mostly in electing members at present. According to the Constitution of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, polling divisions are divided by the Delimitation Commission. For this purpose, the land and population are taken as the main criteria. The electoral map of Sri Lanka is given below as an example. So you can refer to the map in your textbook. It's in page number 8, figure 1.4. Next topic, benefits of elected representatives based on the polling divisions. Opportunity, number 1, opportunity for electing representatives to represent public opinion irrespective of differences that exist in the society like race, religion, language or caste. Number 2, provide the opportunity to elect leaders necessary to maintain the political process. Number 3, provide opportunity for the people to elect a representative responsible for the division. 4, providing an opportunity for regional development. Next topic, free and fair elections. Electing representatives to government bodies is a cornerstone in a democratic country. Similar elections give the opportunity for the government to obtain the participation of the people in administrative functions. Elections are essential for the existence of democracy, and holding free and fair elections is also an essential factor. The voters must be able to choose a political party or a group and vote freely. Candidates too should be able to engage in the election process freely. Next topic, characteristics of a free and fair election. Number 1, holding elections in due course. Number 2, all the eligible citizens must be assured of their vote or the candidacy in a free and fair manner. Number 3, confirmation of the right to participate in a free and fair election. 4, holding elections in line with the election laws. 5, holding elections in a peaceful environment. Next topic, existence of a government and an opposition. In an election for the selection of representatives for government bodies, the party which wins a majority of representatives becomes a government in a democratic system of government. Administration rests with the government. At an election, the party or parties which get a minority of representatives forms the opposition. Next topic, the role of the opposition to make the democratic system of administration successful. Number 1, assist the government in their good activities. 2, direct the government in the proper path by way of investigation and constructive criticism. 3, oppose the government in anti-democratic policies and actions. 4, act to establish a better alternative government. Next topic, freedom, equality and rights. In simple terms, the state in which an individual is allowed to fulfill political, economic and social needs can be defined as freedom. According to G.D.H. Cole, In simple terms, freedom is the opportunity for developing one's personality, sans external resistance. It is very important that this freedom is enjoyed so as to cause no hindrance or obstacle to the other members of society. Freedom can only be enjoyed within the boundaries of law. The freedom that the individual gets to consummate his life contributes in general to the progress of society as a whole. Providing every individual with equal opportunities is equality. What is implied here is the provision of opportunities for the enjoyment of rights and freedom to everyone without any discrimination. Execution of qualities such as freedom and equality depends on safeguarding rights. Rights can be interpreted as the entitlements of humans given by society to consummate his social life. Human rights can be defined as the entitlements unfavored by any means which humans receive at birth to lead a prestigious life in society. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly on the 10th December 1948. This is an important instance in the history of winning human rights. By this, human rights were legalized. Entertaining the rights of a person properly results in leading a healthy social life. The intention of providing rights in a democratic society is to develop the whole society through personal development. Social development is established by performing duties combined with rights. Education is one example of the rights you are entitled to. It is your responsibility to dedicate knowledge and skills gained through education for social development. Next topic, act in accordance with the Constitution. The basic law of a country is the Constitution. Under a democratic system of administration, governance of the country takes place in conformity with the Constitution. Professor Ivor Jennings has stated, the Constitution is a document which defines the formation, the execution, and the powers of the major component of a government, which are the legislature, executive, and the judiciary, and describes the relationship between the said institutions with the people. Starting next para, though there is no consensus about the contents of a constitution, but most of the constitutions consist of the following. 1. How the major components of the government, the legislature, executive, and the judiciary are constructed. 2. The tasks, powers, and the relationships in the said institutions. 3. The nature of the relationship between the government and the people. 4. Fundamental rights of the people. 5. Provision to amend the constitution. Next topic, benefits of adherence to the constitution in a democratic country. 1. Ensures the regularity and the consistency of the administration. 2. Awareness of people's rights by both rulers and subjects. 3. Possibility of preventing rulers being arbitrary. 4. Protection of the sovereignty of the judiciary. 5. Protection of fundamental rights. 6. Fulfillment of necessities and aspirations of the people from government institutions. 7. Equal treatment under law for everyone. Next topic, media freedom and the right of access to information. The people of a democratic country have freedom of expression and access to information. This is fulfilled by the media. Media is the main factor in forming public opinion. The people have a right to know about the activities and the decision-making process of the government. It is an essential factor of good governance. Likewise, the media has the ability to make the government aware of public opinion. Media freedom is of paramount importance in a democratic country to form public opinion. Next topic, the role of the free media in a democratic country. 1. Presenting true and correct information to the public. 2. Presenting unbiased information for the benefit of the people. 3. Making the government aware of the grievances of the people. 4. Direct the rulers to follow the path of democracy. 5. Enhance the knowledge of the people. 6. Providing the latest information on time. Next topic, independence of the judiciary. Independence of the judiciary. The judiciary plays the role of dispensing justice. In a democratic society, the judiciary plays a major role in safeguarding freedom and protection of rights. The judiciary should be independent and free from the influence of the legislature and the executive and any other aspects. Constitutions of modern states have taken numerous steps to protect the sovereignty of the judiciary. Independence of the judiciary ensures that the equity and justice is meted out to the people as well as judiciary. Establishment of the Judicial Service Commission is one of the important steps with regards to independence of judiciary. The supremacy of law and equality before law. Next topic. The supremacy of law and equality before law. In a country, law is above all. It is the supremacy of the law. It is compulsory that both the rulers as well as subjects must obey and respect the law. They should not overrule the law. It should be practiced equally for both the rulers and subjects. The application of law irrespective of nationality, caste, creed or sex or an individual basis is in brief called equality before law. Next topic. Features that illustrate the supremacy of law. 1. Everybody to respect the law, obedient to the law and not superseding it. 2. Punishing the offenders under the existing law. 3. Arresting individuals only on the basis of an indictment. 4. Equality before law. 5. Everybody to get the protection of law in absolute fairness. Next topic. The nature of the state and the government. Under that, the state. While the state is a permanent institution, the government is an institution subject to changes from time to time. Present state is considered a national state, and there are 4 basic characteristics evident in such a state. They are land, population, government and autonomous power. Next topic, land. Land area is demarcated by fixed frontiers. The maritime boundary, the sky above the land area. Next topic, population. The population living within the land limits. Government, safeguarding law and order and motivating people to fulfill common goals within the state are entrusted to the government. Next topic, autonomous power. Autonomous power is the authority that can be applied for the sake of the public without the intervention of any particular internal or external force. Autonomous power helps in enacting laws and in obtaining the allegiance of the public to such laws. Definitions presented about the state. According to Professor Garner, the state is a community of persons, more or less numerous, permanently occupying a definite portion of territory, independent of external control and possessing an organized government to which the great body of inhabitants render habitual obedience. According to Aristotle, the state is an organization established by the people to live happily and honorably. Next topic, nature of the nation state. The nation state was established in Europe as a political organization after the 15th century. Next topic, main features of a nation state. 1. Based on the concept of one state for one nation. 2. Consists of supreme power, land, population and the government. 3. Governed by a professional hierarchy of authorities. 4. Possession of supreme power regarding external and internal matters. Next topic, origin and the expansion of the nation state. After the 15th century, the formation of nation states commenced. England, Spain and France were the first nation states. Then Germany and Italy too joined. By the 20th century, nation states existed all over the world. Next topic, reasons behind the origin of nation states. 1. Protestant Reformation. 2. The Great Revolution. 3. The rise of capitalist economy with the collapse of the feudal system. 4. Development of scientific knowledge. Under that, the required religious background was provided by Protestant reformists. The political thinkers like Niccolo Machiavelli, Jean Bodin, and Thomas Hobbes strengthened the nation state. Countries like England, France, Holland, and Portugal emerged as strong countries owing to several reasons. Some of them are 1. National cohesion. 2. Military and naval strength. 3. Advanced economic condition. 4. Creative abilities of these nations. Next topic, the role of the nation state. Modern nation states have emerged as big and small landmarks. Likewise, some have a large population while others have a small population. Taking the land areas and population into consideration, it is possible to imagine the complexity of the social, political and economic problems. Economic inequalities and racial differences are some such examples. The nation state is bound to solve these problems, safeguarding basic human rights, social justice and equality. Accordingly, given below are examples of the tasks that devolve upon the government. 1. Protection of law and peace. 2. Maintaining economic and political stability. 3. Providing welfare services. 4. Taking steps for poverty alleviation. 5. Maintenance of public services. 6. Implementation of development plans. 7. Solving problems of war, rebellion and ethnic disputes. Next, protecting basic human rights and their development. Next topic, main forms of states. As given in the Constitution, the devolution of power between the central government and the local government bodies, the states are categorized as follows. Number 1, unitary state. Number 2, federal state. Unitary state. Under that, unitary states are states where power is concentrated with central governments to implement the legislative, executive and the judicial power. It is a unitary state. Local governments implement, in a unitary state, local governments implement the administrative powers vested by the central government. Next topic, federal state. A federal state is a system of government with two tiers of governments. Here both the central government and the local government bodies exercise the powers of the legislature, executive and the judiciary. Next topic, basic aspects of a federal state. Devolution of power between the central government and the local government bodies. Next topic, government. The government is the agent that implements expectations of the public and the will of the state. The government protects the law and peace and it leads the people to a common goal. According to Professor Garner, the government is the agent which converts the wish of the state or the people into policies and implements them. In a democratic country, the government is elected to power through an election by majority vote. The government can be changed occasionally depending on the public opinion expressed at elections. The government consists of the following institutions. Government can be comprised of three parts: legislature, executive and the judiciary. Government, under that legislature, promulgation of laws. Next, executive, execution of laws. 3. Judiciary, dispenses justice. Next topic, main components of the government and their functions. The government consists of the main institutions such as the legislature, executive and the judiciary. Legislature, that is the Parliament of Sri Lanka. Representatives of the legislature are selected for a fixed term by universal franchise in an election. Tasks of this body are promulgation of laws, next management of finance, next control of the executive. Next topic, executive. The executive is the implementing body of the laws promulgated by the legislature. The selection procedure of members depends on the nature of the constitution. In a parliamentary government, the executive consists of the prime minister and the cabinet. The political party which wins the majority of seats in a general election gets the opportunity to form the cabinet. In a presidential government, the president is the head of the executive. The president is elected by a presidential election. Next topic, judiciary. The judiciary sorts out the disputes arising out of the implementation of the laws enacted by the legislature. The main function of the judiciary is the dispensation of justice. The judiciary plays a major role in protecting the rights of citizens and safeguarding the constitution. In federal states, the problems that crop up between the central and regional governments are solved by higher seats of the judiciary. The procedures of appointing judges for higher courts are included in the constitution. Next topic, forms of government. In modern states, two types of government are to be seen. They are parliamentary government and presidential government. Next topic, parliamentary government. A parliamentary government consists of a parliament which representatives elected by the people for a fixed term, a cabinet appointed by the parliament, and an independent judiciary. In a parliamentary government, the executive is directly appointed by parliament from the elected representatives. As such, the executive is directly responsible and answerable to parliament. Hence, the parliamentary system of government is described as a government of responsibility. The prime minister and the cabinet are collectively accountable to the parliament. If it deviated from this process, the legislature can defeat the government at any moment. There are two types of parliamentary government, the nominal executive and the political executive. In Britain, the nominal executive is the king or the queen. It comes down as a tradition. The political executive in a parliamentary system of government is the prime minister and the cabinet. Next topic, features of a parliamentary system of government. It consists of two types, that is the nominal executive and the real executive or the political executive. The executive is elected by the legislature. A direct relationship exists between the executive and the legislature. The executive is collectively responsible to the legislature. The legislature has the power to remove the executive. Next topic, presidential system of government. In a presidential system of government, the president is elected by a presidential election. Thus, the head of the executive is the president. Special features of the presidential system of government. Number 1, the president implements executive power. 2, the president is the leader of the government and the state. 3, the executive is not directly responsible to the legislature. 4, the legislature does not control the executive directly. According to Professor Garner, the presidential government is the government which concentrates all the executive powers in the constitution, since the influences of the legislature on the president, who is independent and not accountable to the legislature for his political policies. Next topic, responsibilities of the citizen. In a democratic society, the citizen can enjoy a series of political, civil, economical and cultural rights. While enjoying these rights, he has to fulfill duties to society. They are categorized as legal duties and moral duties. Payment of taxes, obedience to the existing law, safeguarding the constitution, protecting law and order are examples for legal duties. Failure to fulfill legal duties is a punishable offense. Respecting elders, following social customs and traditions are examples of moral duties. The conscience of a person is the judge regarding the accomplishment of moral duties. The individual should enjoy all the rights without harming the social welfare. A person has a right to engage in a profession. It is the responsibility of the individual to engage in it with the dedication towards social development. Study the articles mentioned below of the Constitution 1978 of Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka to learn about the duties of citizens. The exercise and the enjoyment of rights and freedom are inseparable from the performance of duties and obligations. Accordingly, it is the duty of every person in Sri Lanka: A. To uphold and defend the Constitution and the law. B. To promote national welfare and to foster national unity. C. To work conscientiously in his chosen occupation. D. To protect public property and to combat misuse and waste. E. To respect the rights and freedom of others. F. To protect nature and conserve natural resources. Next topic, responsibilities towards the citizen. Next topic, responsibilities towards the citizen. The state is also responsible in many ways towards the citizen. Most states have included these policies in the constitution itself. Therefore, the responsibilities of the governments towards people while carrying out administrative work are as follows. 1. Protection of law and order. 2. Safeguarding the principles of equality. 3. Conforming to the constitution. 4. Protecting the fairness of the law. 5. Ensuring equal distribution of the national wealth. 6. Ensuring transparency in financial control. 7. Providing social security and welfare. 8. Protecting and safeguarding the environment. Next topic, factors essential for the success of democratic governance. A series of factors are essential for the success of democratic governance. Some of them are stated below. Free and fair elections. Under that, an opportunity was provided to learn features of a free and fair election under the features of democratic governance. The rulers are selected by the elections based on the universal franchise. The voter must be given the opportunity to cast his vote free of influence according to his political opinion. It is a basic feature of a free election. A fair election is one in which all the political groups are allowed to engage in election activities equally, in a suitable environment free from corruptions and malpractices. Holding elections alone is not adequate for the existence of democracy. They should be free and fair. Gaining power in a free and fair election is a requirement to obtain public support, confidence and acceptance towards the rulers. This is called the legitimacy of a government. Next topic, existence of the supremacy of the law. The laws are the rules promulgated by the government to control the external behavior of citizens. The obedience, submission to the law and respecting those by both rulers and subjects should be done without superseding the laws. The existence of the supremacy of the law is helpful for the government to maintain its affairs unobstructed and to establish public confidence. Next topic, independence of the judiciary. The judiciary is considered the main tower in building democracy. Maintenance of this institute without any influence is essential in democracy. The judiciary should exist impartially as an institute free of undue influence to dispense justice and fairness according to the existing law. Then only justice could be dispensed to all the citizens of the country according to the existing law. Democratic governments set up provisions in the constitutions to protect sovereignty of the judiciary. The existence of an independent and impartial judiciary is vital to set up a just and a law-abiding society. Next topic. Existence of people with political intelligence. Bringing a people-friendly government into power is of paramount importance for successful democratic governance. The voter is of prime importance in this process. The political parties and groups present their policies to the people. The voter should be politically intelligent to vote correctly, taking such policies into consideration. Moreover, the voter must display concern to elect the candidates of exemplary character in society and great leaders devoted to build the nation. The intelligent voter must be concerned to prevent the selection of politicians who are guilty of offences in society. Thereby, the voter is able to build good governance in the country. The existence of intelligent, politically educated public is very essential in building a peaceful political environment free of fraud and corruption. Next topic, existence of a sound economic standard. Fulfillment of fundamental rights at the highest standard is a key factor in strengthening democracy. The availability of food, clothing, housing, education, health and common amenities adequately is useful for the existence of a democratic society. Existence of qualities like freedom, rights and equality depends on the sound economic level. To achieve these conditions, social welfare is also undertaken by a democratic government. Next topic, availability of free and unbiased media. You will be able to learn the role played by the media under the features of a democratic governance. As the right to access information is an essential factor in a democracy, it is the task of the media to ensure it. Therefore, the existence of an environment conducive to the provision of information in a free and unbiased manner is essential for the success of democracy. Media has an obligation and a responsibility to provide unbiased and the true information with a sense of responsibility. The media can build public opinion correctly by doing so. Democratic life. Next topic, democratic life. Establishment of democratic principles in society is vital for the success of democratic governance. A democrat should have the following qualities. 1. Take a decision through discussions. 2. Tolerance of opposite views. 3. Respect in majority decision. 4. Cooperation. 5. Respect for human rights. 6. Obedience to law. 7. Enjoying rights while fulfilling duties. 8. Identifying factors that hinder democracy and present constructive criticism. Accordingly, the members of institutions like the family, school, higher educational institutions and places of employment must appreciate democratic principles in conducting their affairs. Next topic, importance of democratic governance. Under that, enjoyment of equal rights. Democracy is based on basic concepts such as personal freedom, rights and equality. In a democracy, all citizens are entitled to equal rights irrespective of differences. No one is discriminated. There are provisions to establish a suitable machinery to build such an environment in a democratic government. The existence of a constitution and acting in accordance with it in a democratic country is an example of this. Possession of equal rights, building social integrity, reducing social conflicts, help personal development. The opportunity to enjoy equal rights contributes to the development of the entire society. Next topic, opportunity to develop personal abilities and skills. The citizens of a democratic country have the opportunity to develop their skills to the maximum. An individual has the opportunity to develop his intelligence, abilities and various skills. There are no limitations or obstacles imposed in this regard. Not only opportunities provided to acquire education and vocational training, but special identified skills are also improved. Enjoyment of freedom and rights based on equality are of great help for the development of personal abilities and skills. Opportunity for the citizens to take part in the government. Next topic, opportunity for the citizens to take part in the government. A special feature of democratic governance is the political right of the people to take part in governance. Since they cannot take part directly, it is done through representatives. Hence, the rulers are elected by voters through universal franchise. The citizens have the opportunity to engage in election activities. One can present himself as a candidate. Moreover, by being vigilant of the activities of an elected government, a citizen can present his opinion. Next topic, priority to human development. Food, housing, education, health, employment and other common amenities are factors which affect human development. These factors are instrumental in the qualitative development of the living conditions of the people. In a working democracy, various political parties contest to gain power. In this contest, priority is mostly given to the party manifesto, policies that bring people's welfare. It is a special feature in democracy to pay special attention in providing facilities. With the development of democracy, the state has become a welfare institute in the last decades of the 20th century. In some democratic countries, services such as education and health are provided free of charge. Sri Lanka is one such example. Next topic. Foundation for the development of a peaceful society. Under that, most countries at present are multiracial and multicultural societies. Every citizen is a partner of the administration in a democratic country. The following aspects have contributed to build a peaceful society. Number 1, existence of the supremacy of law. 2, independence of the judiciary. 3, freedom, equality and possession of equal rights. 4, respect for majority decisions. 5, regard for minority opinion. Next, come to decision through discussions. Next, opportunity for peaceful expression of ideas of the citizen. Next topic, social welfare. The transition of the state into a welfare organization occurred with the advent of democracy in the early decades of the 20th century. As a result, special attention was paid to social activities which contributed to the quality of the standard of living of the citizens in a democratic government. The government's role in the administration of the program on education, health, housing, transport, social security, poverty alleviation, and caring for the aged are examples for this. So that's the end of chapter 1 of Civic Education Grade 10 English Medium Textbook. Keep in touch for more readings. Thank you.